questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch alongs to the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Good evening, big up everyone. Hope you're well. This is the Brentford match reaction. If you hear background noise, it's as per usual. The girls are excited and doing their madness. But yeah, listen, as much as it's we've put this as a game of two halves, we'll say. It's a very big point. It's a big point. JC mentioned it during the preview. He said, listen, any away point is a good point, and we've managed to get that, and we could have had a bit more actually. But JC, how's it going?
Well, I'm happy. I predicted 1-1 and 1-1 came through, so that extra 3 points I got in the predictions league is looking very nice. But yeah, man, I'm all right. Just come back from RHEA's house to do this preview, so yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Sweet. And Dan?
Yeah, all good. I didn't actually get to watch the game yesterday. Huh?
Don't mention predictions.
I'm not mentioning predictions. I fessed up 20 minutes into the first game. I'll say no more. I prefer not to speak. Yeah, I'm good. I was actually at my mate's wedding yesterday, so I had a bit of time not thinking about football, which was all good. I have watched some highlights since though, so I have a vague idea of what happened. I watched the extended highlights on the Palace website.
Cool. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it was a very, very good point. Which could have been more, oddly enough. But let's get into it. I was at football as well, so I literally had to go watch the extended highlights when it came out eventually. It's funny because I was playing during the match and my gaffer goes, Rich, Brentford scored. I'm like, yeah, shock. But you know what? Just looking at the goal itself, because I think that was the only shot. I think that was only a shot on target. If please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they had that was their first shot on target in the game up until that point, but they did have a load of shots that were either wide or blocked. But
one shot on target, yeah, that's what I've got on.
How they built up the play to get into that position, that was probably where all of the bad defending came through, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, apologies because my laptop's mad slow, but I've uploaded a few images and I wanted to go through them. I know we've seen the goal multiple times, but I just wanted to go through these images to just sort of step by step of how bad it was.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't even watched the highlights ever since I watched the game. I watched the game and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching anything more because it's gonna get me vexed.
The extended highlights were literally only 10 minutes long, and like at least 3.5, 4 of those minutes were either celebrating the goals or saying what the team was. Like, so they obviously not a lot happened.
Yeah. Now, hopefully you'll be able to see this. Right. So this is the first image. And I mean, when I watched this in real time, obviously, I was just thinking to myself, what are we doing? Because you've got a midfield three lined up there, but all of them are running away from the. I don't know. Was that Norgard at the time? Or was that Janssen?
It's like Norgard.
No, that's Jensen. Norgard is.
Oh, Janssen. Okay.
Norgard's pushed up a bit on the right here.
Yeah. So obviously it must have been a case where it looks, because obviously you see Eddie on the far left hand side. It must have been a case where they've beaten a very easy press to beat. You know, he's literally got 7 to 10 yards either side of him. So much space. And that's just one midfielder. Normally, because they normally have a pivot, don't they? Okay, moving on. The ball obviously gets switched to Sharda, who eventually scores. Now, here, I'm not too mad at the back four shape. I mean, Anderson could technically shuffle over a bit, but It's not the worst. But then you look at Ayew, and I don't know which Brentford player this is, but this is the player which is the biggest concern, the one that's like in the middle here. And it becomes a problem as you keep going on. He's still technically not picked up. And whether it was Ayew or Doucouré who was late to get there, had one of them picked him up, then I think Ayew could have closed the gap between himself and Ward. Because now you can see Ward's wrong-footed. He's already on the wrong side of Sade. He's now wrong-footed, and then it looked nuts. It was almost Van Disney-esque.
So when I was watching this in real time, because Sade tried to cut inside 3 times. Wardy done the right thing twice, showed him out, and then the 3rd time he tried to preempt him going down the line, even though he wanted to cut in. And I'm thinking, mate, he's tried to do the same thing twice already, and you've stopped it. Why would he do something else?
And he's right-footed as well. He's right-footed, Sade, as well. So he wants to cut in on his right.
So Wardy sold himself. Sade literally cut inside. At that point, Anderson's too far away to close him down. He just rips the shot, and it's an easy goal. I don't think there's any fault to have here for Ayew or Doucouré, because I think that when they're breaking at the speed they were, it's hard to keep up with them when the team's flooding forwards. I would base it purely on Wardy here. Why would you show him on the inside?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I said, Wardy is 100% like the fault here. But what I was saying regarding Ayew is he could have tried to preempt the worst case scenario. Because I think if he tucks in closer toward 3 yards, Sade can't cut inside. You know, but these are all hypotheticals.
Yeah, but then we can say, so you see how far Schlupp is away, where Ayew is right now. Where, to be fair, look at the 27 right now.
Yeah, but this was the issue we had. I mean, let's just say there were any rebounds here. The amount of players that are free is unbelievable.
I think Wiss is being picked up, and Mbeumo's kind of being picked up, but everyone else is free.
It's free,
it's not. That's not a good position, is it?
It's not. And I like the way you said kind of being picked up, because we know that Mitchell ball watches in the back post as well.
We've conceded so many times from the back post because of Mitchell, so you can't say he is being picked up unless he's holding him. He ain't being picked up.
100%. But now listen, let's not take anything away. That finish was mad.
It was a good finish. It was a good finish. I do get what you mean though, Rich. Like when you said about Ayew, a lot of the time he's normally closer than that. I think if Ayew is literally just a couple of steps further, I don't think he does try to cut inside.
I don't know which image it was. Yeah, this image.
I don't think he does try to cut. I'm not blaming it on Ayew. Like, I think like definitely the majority of the blame there definitely goes to Ward. Yeah, but I do get what you mean. I do agree. I think if he's a little bit closer, or just like you say, just preempts that he looks like he's about to cut inside, maybe he could have done a little bit better. But to be honest, overall, that entire motion, that entire whatever you call it, was just shambolic from a defensive point of view.
It was. And I think what upsets me the most about it, when you think about where Sade picked up the ball, let me see if this is correct. He's still like good, 30 yards from goal?
Probably more than that.
And then he
miles away.
And then he cuts in, I think, here.
Mm-hmm.
So he's travelled a good 25 plus yards with no tackle. It's a big, like, no challenge. Like it's just disappointing for Moody. And it's a shame because, like you said, he did the first bits okay. He's like, okay, cool, showing him down the line. Then he ended up ahead of it. It was like, wait, where are you going? Sort of thing. So
I think he was really trying to preempt him going down the line, but then I don't get it. You'd rather him go down the line and put a ball into the box, rather than cutting inside when he's tried to do that the last 2 times. Why would you let him go inside the 3rd time?
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, like he's right-footed. He obviously wants to naturally cut in. He's not even a winger either, I don't think, Sharda is. I'm fairly sure he's a striker. So I don't, again, getting beaten by a striker on the wing isn't a good look, is it?
No, for real. I mean, in an attacking sense in the first half, Eddie had a half chance. Why do I feel like he was trying to pass it when
we were shambolic in the first half when it came to going forwards. If the ball didn't go through Eze, it weren't going anywhere.
Yeah,
and
because Eze had
been
like
a.
So
you know, one thing I want to
well, didn't he?
One thing I want to say about Eze, he's diving a bit. He done it again. He done it again against Brentford, and mate, he looked like he got shot when he went down. He hardly even got touched. If he's not careful, he's going to start to develop a perception of what people perceive Zaha to be like, and it's going to be very easy for people to do that as well because they're thinking, oh, Zaha's just left. Eze is like the nearest thing to Zaha, so maybe he's just trying to copy Zaha's diving. I can see that happening because Eze's more than strong enough to stay standing in those positions. I get it if it's a proper penalty, go down. You have to play the game in that way. But to do what he's done in every match so far this season, I believe he's done it. I think he done it against Sheffield United as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Sheffield United. Yeah, he went down easy.
That's 3 in 3 games. It's not a good look. If he wants to push for this Man City move, he's got to fix up that way as well because I'm sure Pep ain't gonna.
No, Pep wouldn't stand for something like that.
Deal with all of that stuff. But yeah, he scuffed a few shots. He made a few wrong decisions. He should have tried to drill one instead of place it. And same thing as Sheffield. It's different, wrong shot at the wrong time. Well, going forwards, we were dreadful. There was nothing, and I don't even want to start talking about Schlupp because I'll rant here for 30 minutes minimum.
Yeah, let's start you off, JC, because
I saw a tweet and it made me laugh because it was so true. It says I can't remember who it was, but they said, "How is Schlupp marking the air badly?" And I was thinking, bruv, he's just nowhere. Where is he?
Well, JC, you're going to love this. I went on to SofaScore to look at our players' average positions.
Oh, there was some tweet. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. 15. He's meant to be our winger.
Oh, my God.
Number 15 is meant to be our winger. And our midfielder is higher than our striker. Look at that.
I can understand, like, if you play part of it in midfield, but like you say, he was our left winger the entire game.
Put it this way, our left winger is more central than our central midfielders.
I look at how close Anderson had to be to Ward.
Mate.
But the only one that could do their job was Ayew.
He's had a great start to the season, by the way.
Yeah, he's been involved in every single one of our goals so far.
Based on the extended highlights on the Palace website, to me it looked like he had a good game. Eze had a good game.
Eze and Anderson were the standouts.
Oh, okay, because it also seemed like Mitchell had a decent game, but then obviously I didn't see the rest of it.
Yeah, Mitchell had a good game, but he wasn't on Anderson's level. Anderson was incredible.
And it seemed like, I'm not going to say Eddie had a good game, but it looked, from the highlights I saw, it looked like his confidence was coming back, which it looks like he's improving.
He done the best he could because we gave Eddie zero service whatsoever. You see how far he had to drop to just grab the ball and do anything with it. Like there was a few times where Schlupp just was so abandoning that left wing position that Eddie actually pushed out to that left wing, and Eze sort of played as our number 9 for a little while, and that actually worked out pretty well.
Jesus, how can you have such a liability in attack, man? That's just.
And then when we made that change, the double change of Mateta and Hamada, and we went into 4-3-3, our whole team just changed for the better.
Yeah.
But that's all for the second half.
Yeah, I mean, just before, because I know you wanted to have your Schlupp rant, we're going to give you the platform to have it.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Flat brand.
But what do you call it? Paddy, Joachim, Mark, Roy, they all mentioned it at halftime. They changed to a 4-3-3, and it seemed to work out. And that's why Eze went out wide more second half, and Schlupp went back into the middle. And then obviously when he made the changes, it was a bit more seamless. But we seem to have a bit more joy. And Eddie's free kick was decent. You know, it's nice that it hit the target, because Eze's one against Arsenal was wild. I'm just trying to think, and then, you know, let's talk about I've got some clips for the goal as well. Now, this is initially when Eze picks up the ball. Now, obviously, our first off was so bad, but look how many players are now facing forwards this half. It's just the difference. You got Mateta. It looks like he's there pinning the defenders, but everyone's looking forward. And now it's Brentford who I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players in just in this defensive image. 8, so they're obviously holding on. Anderson's picks up the ball, and fair play to him, he drives. Now, once again, this is before he passes the ball into Ayew, by the way. We have 4 players in the box. You know, obviously Wardy wide as well. But what I have to give Anderson credit for, obviously, he's knocked it into Ayew, and he's just put the burners on. Just put the burners on. Now, everything else that happened,
the midfielder was not expecting the centre back to go.
No, not at all. But I think that might be something we're going to have to just deploy a bit more, you know. If we're finding that we're struggling to beat a low block, one of our defenders is going to have to just gamble.
The thing is, though, the gamble paid off here, but after the goal went in, if you have a look, it's only Mark is back. Everyone else is up. And bear in mind, Wissa and Mbeumo are with Mark. So if that didn't pay off, it's a 2v1.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You need like Mitchell, or if it was the other way around, the right back to like tuck in or something.
Yeah, just to tuck in. See, because it was on the right hand side where Ward was up, Mitchell should already be tucking in.
But Mitchell wasn't. Mitchell was picking up the back post position. So
yeah, he got up really high. And funny enough, he was very close to the Ayew one. The Ayew flashed one across the box. You know, we could have nicked it. I think there was a potential own goal after Lerma crossed it in. Flecker made some good saves when you think about it.
Saw the double save that he made. That was good.
With Lerma, I think Lerma's head and then Ayew running onto it. There's nothing more Ayew could have done from there. He tried to lift it, and you know, he just couldn't do it enough. But it was 2 incredible saves from Flecken, I have to say.
Yeah,
he kept them in that game, and also Mark kept us in the game really late on when Wissa was free in the box. He just sort of dived straight in front of him, got the ball off, and hoofed it away. I don't know how he done it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a tactic with Mark in that game. He was just on Wissa that whole game, that proper man-to-man marking him.
I'm glad, because he's so like elusive. Like, you think you're marking him, then the next one he's just gone. Tap him back post, you know, header from nowhere. I mean, he had a header in the first half that it was just fizzed at him, so he couldn't really. But he was free. Like, he just finds ways of becoming free in the box. Mm-hmm. So it was a good idea. But I mean, you know, it's a good point. It's a very good point.
It's a great point.
Yeah,
as long as we beat Wolves.
Yeah,
they look good against Everton, to be fair.
I think, because I know. I guess we'll talk about it in tactical more, but I think Gary O'Neill's doing a good job with them. I think their main problem is scoring goals. I could see that game finishing 0-0, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Like, if I'm being a bit pessimistic.
Definitely.
Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we don't. I guess what else? It's like I said, it's another 5 consecutive draws. I think it's a record now.
0-0, 0-0, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1.
I've got to give credit to Brentford's admin. He goes, what's the guarantees? Death taxes and drawing with Palace. It's a great tweet, you know. And I guess this time around they may feel a little bit aggrieved because we've pegged them back this time. You know, normally it's them scoring the last or late goal against us. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a bad point. It's a very good point, and I think that we all can see that because Brentford are a very good team. They are sort of the benchmark for a team like us right now. Bear in mind, they've only been in the Premier League for 2 years now, and they are our benchmark. And we've been in the league for how long?
yeah,
But it's
Yeah.
a good point to get because they play in such a different kind of system that is very alien to play against, and because of how different it is, that 2 games a season are always really difficult. Because you go to Everton, you go to Man United, you go to even Sheffield United, they all play a 4-3-3 or something similar to that. But because of Brentford, they play something so out there that it's just that little bit different. That if you switch off, you might forget to pick up your man, or you have to pick up someone you wouldn't normally have to pick up. It's a bit more mentally taxing a game like Brentford.
Yeah, and I feel like they're very good at adapting Brentford as well. I think Thomas Frank is probably one of the most adaptable managers like around, because regardless of the team he plays against, he'll find some sort of tactic to specialize against him.
Last season, Brentford made the most subs in the whole Premier League. So it just shows how he isn't afraid to dip into his reserves and change the team around if it needs to be done.
For sure.
Before we go into like player ratings and then potentially open the lines, are we saying now Schlupp should be like he needs to be benched now?
Yeah.
But do we go Ayew left and Ratsaki right, or do we go Ahmad where Schlupp is?
I think what we should do is potentially start the Wolves game the same way as we finished the Brentford game, where we played that 4-3-3 with a Hamada in that midfield, with Ayew on the right, Eze on the left, but Edouard up top. That's what I think we should do. It's going to be hard for a Hamada to start, but I think that's how we look the best.
I mean, for me, I didn't want Schlupp starting this game anyway, or the last game, to be honest. So for me, I think in Tactical, I think I initially said I wouldn't mind seeing Ayew on the left and then Ahamada on the right. But if we played so well with what we finished against Brentford, then I don't see any harm in doing that, going with that.
Yeah, so I'm just going through some comments. Sorry, we got so into this dissecting the game that we thought. So big up Earth, big up the chairman, big up Henry. Yeah, that's spot on, Henry. As long as we beat Wolves. Big up Timmy said, I agree with you, JC. I thought Schlupp was the worst match of the group. Yep, he was bad. But the thing is, he's been bad all season.
That's only 3 games in.
Yeah. Big up Sean.
Big up Sean.
What do you think of Ward's performance?
I think to round off Ward's performance, it's not great. We've seen him do better, and he has done better this season. But we've said it for the last few years. It comes a time where you just need fresh legs and new personnel at that right back position.
Yeah. And Sean says, hey, we need a right back and a left back. I mean, that will go into, I don't know, JC, how much you would have discussed the latest Here We Go.
I'm just saying, we need outfield players. We're spending loads of money on a goalkeeper. 2 starting goalkeepers.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, go on.
How do you keep 2 starting goalkeepers happy? You don't. Unless you're in Europe. You don't.
How much into this do we want to get into today?
Yeah, you see, Dan's ready to go as well.
We'll come back to it then. Right. We'll come back to it.
When the phone line's open, we can have a go.
Yeah. Wolves look good against Everton. Think about the Everton. They suck as well. Yeah. But you know what? It's a weird one with Everton, especially their 2 home games. They've had chances to win those games and they've lost them both 1-0.
Yeah,
so it's a very weird one. Do you think Royce? I hope he stays with 4-3-3. I think he's realised now that the 4-2-3-1 is kind of isolating Eze.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it's good if we didn't have Schlupp. If I'm to be honest, like that's the thing. Like I think if you have someone like Schlupp playing, right? I know I'm stealing JC's thunder with moaning about Schlupp here, but I think the problem with Schlupp here is that he's so crap that you might as well play. You might as well just play with 10 players if you're going to play him there, because thing is you got such a hole on that side of the pitch that you've literally only got Eze who can actually do anything. Now, don't get me wrong, like Lerma on that side can thread a ball. Mitchell isn't the greatest going forward. We know that. Eddie's a person that we kind of need to have that focal point because he's a striker. But I think with Schlupp there, it puts too much. It's kind of like with Decore last season when we didn't have another midfielder in midfield. He was doing. He played well, but he was doing too much. It's the same. It's the same. I think it's the same this season with Eze. He's having to do too much because there are other forward players who are just a liability. And then, for example, I can see Tim's comment. That one. And yeah, I think when França comes in, he'll take that pressure off because they can interchange position. Like Eze can drift to the left, and then França can come in the middle. França can go to the left. Eze can come into the middle. Like they can interchange. Schlupp can't do that. I mean, we saw by the player position that when he's been asked to play as a winger, he decides to play as a centre mid. So, what more is there to say?
That's mad. No, those play positions killed me.
He's so bad though. That's the thing. He can't do anything. He's bad in midfield. He's bad at left back. He's bad at left wing. What does he do?
Literally, the only on the extended highlights, yeah. The only thing that he was actually the only highlight he's actually involved in at any point was him giving an overhit pass to Mitchell. that was literally the only thing he was involved in.
The only thing I can remember Schlupp doing in the whole game was when he was so out of position on the right wing, he passed it to Ayew, who then crossed it in the box. Like he was so out of position that there were multiple times in the game where he was further on the right wing than Ayew was, and I'm thinking, it's not even after a corner where everyone's positions are all messed up. We've been building up the play for a long time, and man's on the wrong side of the pitch. He's so bad, but we just don't have. The injuries have killed us, let's be real. But there's so much we could do so much better just with Ahamada or even Ratsaki. I don't think Ratsaki's ready, but Ratsaki can't be that bad. I'm sorry, he can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And at least then we will be able to hold the width on both sides.
Yeah, Ratsaki will hold that touchline.
Cool. All right, let's quickly run through player ratings. Not using the thing because that's obviously needs fixing.
You cut their heads off.
Right. I'll go Johnston. All right, no, let me just start off with, is everyone in agreement that Anderson's man of the match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But what we give it Anderson? And then we can work everyone else around.
I'll give Anderson an 8. I think he was the best player, but still it wasn't his best game, to be fair. Because he did have a few overhit passes, underhit passes.
Yeah.
He had a bit of a mare in the first 5 minutes as well, to be fair.
But I just like the fact that he took onus and took ownership and said, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to do this myself.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it was similar to like Sheffield United. He just took a shot of himself. Like where they've got those low blocks, I think Anderson's trying to get himself further forward and just have shots where he can, you know, an impact play. So, all right. So if we're saying Anderson's 8, we can now work around everyone else. Knowing that I don't think someone might match an 8, but we'll see. All right, Johnston.
I mean, again, I didn't watch the game, but from what I could tell, I didn't have to do anything really.
Well, the goal, I thought was a very
Yes,
unsavable.
No one's saving that.
Yeah, you
He
can't
ma-
say that.
They took a few more shots. I think he came out off his line and caught the ball well. His distribution was incredible, but it normally is. I give him a 6. He didn't really do enough to give himself anything higher. And to be fair, that's a good thing. If his rating's low and we still didn't concede many goals, that's a good game. Let's be real.
Yeah. Dan, go on. I'll give you Wardy.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't watch the game, so based on the highlights, I can only give it maybe like a 4 or a 5. Because I think the goal is terrible, but I didn't see anything else, so I can't really say. I feel like you guys might have a better.
I'll give Wardy a 3. He wasn't very good. Maybe I don't know. I'll give him a 4. I think a 3 is a bit too harsh. When he wasn't being run at, he was all right. He was picking up good positions, but other than that, it was not a good game.
Oh, facts. So we've got, and so I'll take Gay.
I'm not playing the song, but
if you know, you know.
if you know, you know.
Mark. Anderson got 8. I'll give Mark a 7.
Yeah.
I think to keep Weezer quiet like that. It's no easy feat. And you know what? Someone tweeted about Anderson and Gay. It's just saying that like we've conceded 1 goal from open play, which wasn't our centre back's fault, and a penalty. Like they've been so sound defensively. So
and bear in mind we played Arsenal, who should have won the league last year. So we haven't played any no ones.
This is it. JC Mitchell.
I think Mitchell gets us a 6 or a 7. I think he was all right. He picked up a lot of space up higher in the pit. I'll give him a 7. He had a few good tackles. He spent a lot of time 1-on-1 with Mbeumo, and Mbeumo didn't really get much love out of Mitchell there. So Mitchell must have locked him down pretty well. So I'll give Mitchell a 7.
Dan, check.
I don't think he even featured in any of the highlights. So I'll just give him like an average 6.
Lerma, I think it was, as per usual, he was just a bit more involved than Czech was. So I'll give Lerma a 7. He was very unlucky to score. That was a great save from Flecken from the header. JC Ebbs.
I want to give him a 6 because I don't think he was, even though most things went through him, I think when there wasn't as much quality as we normally see from Evs. I think the amount of times that he's scuffed the ball, because he was through, I wouldn't say he was through on goal, but he had some good shooting opportunities and really didn't make the most of any of them. I remember one time he was on the edge of the box, he sort of poked the ball out so he could then wrap his foot around it, and he kicked out for a throw-in.
Yeah, I heard that on the radio when I was driving back.
Yeah, I think it's a 6 for me. Not his best shot in the world, but not his best game either.
Dan,
he seemed like one of the better players. So if Anderson's getting an 8, I'll give him a 7.
I'll take Eddie then. I've got 6. I mean, it's not his fault. He's not really creating much chances, but he didn't seem to get himself about like he did against Sheffield United. You know, so should I give him a 5? Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna go 5 actually. I'm gonna go 5 for Eddie. JC. Schlapp. This ain't looking good, man. It's not looking good at all.
It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good at all.
JC, just remember, yeah. Just remember.
Well, after all the conclusive evidence, I can say, Schlupp, you're getting a 1.
That's generous.
Yeah, you're getting a 1. You're getting a 1 because you stepped on that pitch and you put the shirt on. You got a 1 because the shirt looks nice. That's it. You know what? You know why we keep the. You know when we keep Schlupp on in the first team, right? We need someone to model the XL shirt.
Oh gosh. Substitutes 5s.
Yeah, Mateta didn't really have much time on the pitch. I thought HAMMOND played well, but he wasn't on long enough to get any higher than a 5.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we've dropped the link if anyone wants to jump in, have their say. Let's discuss this 2 bits of news, and you can have your say if you jump in as well. First, let's talk about the Eze contracts rumored, because I think the other transfer thing is going to take a bit more time. Obviously, it's been reported that we're trying to give Ebbs a new deal, which is, and Tim's given us more detail in the chat. It's looking at $5 million a year, which works out to be about 96,000 a week. But then there'll be a fixed release clause as well. So I guess it's going to be quite similar to Elise, where we've tied them down and we'll probably expect them both to go in the next year or 2. So, but
wow, we're only playing Eze 30 grand a week.
That's mad,
Really? Jesus. That's nuts. I mean, for me, I think it's just good. I think it's just good business sense, because if we keep it like it is now, the fact of the matter is that he'll go, because he's only got 1 year left in his contract next summer, so he'll go for way cheaper than he really is. If they've put in a release clause at say like 70, 80, like about some as Elise, I'm more than happy with that. And again, I would expect that to be activated either next summer or the summer after that. And I hope they say to Eze, look, people are going to be willing to pay this amount for you, so please do us a solid and allow us to put in a release clause for that amount, and we're all good.
And we won't stop you from going, sort of.
Yeah, because Elise after his new deal got a pay rise of nearly exactly double. So he was on 47.5, now he's on 97.
Nice.
So he's on 100 grand a week. In my opinion, if we offered Zaha 200 grand a week, in my opinion, give 100k of that to Eze and 100k of that to Elise. Slap a, I don't know, £75 million release clause on both of them, because I wouldn't be upset if they both went for 75 each. And that's probably the best use of that money that we could do, really.
100%. I think as well, it's a good incentive for the players as well, because if we keep bringing in these young players after we sell people and that, if they come in on lower wages, they show that they're good enough for the team and important enough for the team. Yeah, exactly. They can get like up to 97k a week or wherever it was.
100%.
Cool. Big up Tim. Big up Henry. Initial thoughts on the potential Eze contract. And we'll start with you, Tim, then go to Henry, and then we'll talk Dean Henderson.
I think I hope it happens. I had seen 80,000 a week, JC. So that's good to know that if it's at 97,000 a week for Elise, and you can just essentially give them the same contract, that would be amazing. That would be such a great deal. That would be such good business. And I hope the release clause is very similar with a higher ceiling. I mean, I think 35 million was too low for Elise, but the structure of it, at least the way The Athletic reported it, was brilliant. And essentially the way I understand it is this: Chelsea had to go to Michael Elise and say, we need you to talk to your club. We're going to activate your release clause. At which point it comes back to Palace through Elise, and he says, hey, they want to activate my release clause. And the function of it is to say, how much are you willing to go? Like, what did they have to pay in order for me to go? Because I'm interested in this. In other words, it's not a £35 million release clause. $35 million is a cover charge. So then Steve Parish can say, tell them if they're willing to pay us $75 million, you can go. At which point Elise has to go back to Chelsea and say, hey, if you're willing to pay $75 million, I can come. And apparently what happened is Chelsea wasn't happy with that and went to Palace. But that's not the way the deal works. So Palace didn't respond because that's not the way the deal works. They weren't supposed to respond. So when there's media reports about how they were unhappy with it, it's kind of like Chelsea trying to circumvent it and say, hey, can we work out a better price here? You have to go through the player and his agent. So in this particular case, if we slap, say, like a 70 million or 75 million, actually, I'd even go a little higher than that, but let's just say 75 million. You slap a 75 million pound release clause on it, and you got to work through Ebbs and his agent, and then they have to come back and say, hey, is this a good enough price? And we still get to dictate what price we think he's worth. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's no different than if there was no release clause whatsoever, but it shows a level of confidence to the player. Hey, we're not going to stand in your way. If you want to go and somebody's willing to pay what you're worth, you can go. We're not going to stand in your way, but we still get a guarantee, or at least as close to a guarantee as you can get, that we're going to get what we want. It accomplishes both things. It shows some faith in the player, and we still get the money we want. I think it's brilliant. I didn't understand any of that in all of the rumors leading up to that. And then when I saw the Athletic report, I felt a lot more confident about the kind of business we could do. So I hope it's real, but it's the Sun, so I don't believe any of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe any of that.
That's a great point that you ended up with, Tim. Just before I get to you, Henry and Eze, just you talking about the Athletics report, I think the thing that frustrated me is that it was the Athletic that kept saying, oh, £35 million release clause, £35 million release clause.
Yeah.
If they had just come out from the start and said, this is the structure of it, I think us Palace fans would have been like, oh, okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because we were sweating.
Oh,
like,
you and me both, man.
I had a full meltdown on Twitter. I'm not even going to lie.
The thing is, it was constant, wasn't it? It was every day. Bang, 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 bang. You're making all us fans feeling worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And then when the pictures of him coming out, he's got put pen to paper. I didn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it.
Did anybody believe
No.
it?
I had to go and fact check it twice. I had to refresh Parish's Instagram just to make sure no one hacked him.
Yeah, I think Nicky put it in the group chat, and I was like, "What is he on about?" And I go on Twitter, and I see I think someone else on Twitter posted a screenshot. And I was thinking, "No, I'm sorry, no way are people doing this. This is horrible. Like this is like torture." Then I go onto his Instagram. I don't even have Instagram. Go onto his Instagram, and I see it, and I'm like,
wasn't it like his first update in like 3 years or something for all the haterade he's been getting?
Oh yeah,
I respect
100%.
the fact he done it on his Percy, though. I have to say, because the
Yeah.
amount of crap he was getting. The amount of abuse he was getting online for him to release that on his personal account, I think that was warranted, in my opinion.
He silenced a few people, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
I hate to say it, but he's deserved a lot of that, because you can't say one thing and then completely spend like £7 and $6 on a player that's coming in. I mean, you can't do that. So I know I just came in here late. I'm not going to bring the mood down. I like the quality point yesterday. I think Brentford's a better team, so I'll take it all day.
Definitely.
100%. And thoughts on Ebbs quickly, just on this new contract and the rumor of it.
I personally don't know if he's actually going to sign with us for a new contract. I think if someone was to buy him, obviously it would have to be a very high price, like what they, like what they've set for Decore and for, well, what they probably did for Elise before he got to stay. But I mean, I think it's just crucial that we keep him. But I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit sort of unsure. I mean, I sort of have a bit of faith that it could happen, but I'm not really like, at the same time, I'm not really expecting anything. So,
I think he'll sign because he likes playing for Roy. And as long as they can stretch Roy out there, he'll play. As long as it's a reasonable release clause.
But he'll like playing for Pep better though.
Well, yeah.
Will he play for Pep? That's the
If
thing
they
with
still,
Pep
if they
Roulette.
still, if
We
they
might
still
after
want him,
today.
if they still want him.
You think he's getting in that team? You think
Well,
he's himself on that team?
Not right
Not
now.
okay.
But if he has a blinding season, then maybe. But yeah.
Well, then, sign a 1-year bumper, and I think he's going to sign that. Not long term. He's not going to make Zaha's
The thing
mistake.
is, even if he signs, it doesn't necessarily mean he'll stay.
Cheer up, Henry. He's not left yet.
Nah.
He's upset because it's Sunday today. Got work tomorrow.
I mean, he also don't forget
Bank holiday. Bank holiday.
No, I'm fine.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah.
I'm just. You got to be realistic, Like, I mean, other than Wilf, who signed, and the only reason he didn't leave was because we priced him out so big that no one wanted him. And then, like, contracts these days don't necessarily mean, like, I mean, Elise's not going to stay for 4 years, is he? Like, he's going to stay for 1 or 2.
No, but the other, I mean, don't forget that so Roy is a good reason. I agree with Patrick that Roy is a reason that Ebbs would be interested in staying. I think the other reason is he has got a very productive partnership with Michael Elise. So if he stays for
but
2
is Roy
seasons,
going to be there past this season, though?
yeah, but if he signs a deal and he gets that partnership this season, he gets it again next season, he's a £100 million player. I mean, there's no guarantees. You're absolutely right. There are no guarantees whatsoever. He could sign a deal and be gone next June. That could 100% happen.
Thing is, just to give another angle on it, I think it depends on his performances. Like,
absolutely.
If he plays towards the back of last season like he did, tearing everything up, he's gonna want to progress his career on, and he's gonna want to sign for a Man City probably. But if he doesn't, because that's why it's such a big year for him. It's potentially like a defining season where we're going to see that the trajectory of where his career goes.
Absolutely.
I think he doesn't really have a reason to not sign a contract, because think about it this way: he's getting way more money for 1 year. Say he does leave next summer, let's say, and we insert, let's say, a £75 million release clause in there. I don't think that really hinders what he wants to do, because if he doesn't sign, he'll probably go next summer for like 20 mil, because it'll be his last year on his contract, so he'll have to go for cheap. But if he signs a contract and we stick a £75 million thing on there, I think a lot of clubs would be happy to pay that kind of money for him. So he doesn't really have a reason to not sign it. It's not like it's not really like the Wolf Zaha one, because we just didn't want him to go because he was our only attacking outlet. And also 80 million back then is not the same as 75 million now. Like the market is inflated so much in the past, even this season. I just don't I don't see how he wouldn't sign, because he's getting more money for a year, assuming he leaves next year. But he's also not hindering himself, because I think teams would be happy to pay that for him next season, assuming he continues to have a good season.
After this season, does he have 1 more year left on his contract?
Yeah. Expires 2025.
So Patrick, you were gonna say?
Yeah, I think as his struggles the first 3 games. I think it's kind of a bit overrated, honestly. If you watch the games like yesterday in the first half, he had a lot of good runs. He should have passed it, but he was passing it to Edward. I don't believe he has confidence in certain players. I think he's just thinking he's got to do it all by himself, and like he was at QPR basically. And eventually he won't have to do that. Roy will get him to slow his game down, so to speak. I mean, he's going to have to take one for the team to go out on the left because you can't have Shaw play.
Well, he's going to be our main source of creativity right now because Elise is out and Franco's out.
So,
but when they're all back, that will change everything. Eze will be much more productive. Right. Edouard will be more productive. Ayew will be more productive. It's just because he's the only one in the team that's really creative. That's why he's struggling. If he has other creative outlets around him, he's going to shine because right now he's the only one other teams double up on. If you have Elise, if you have Eze, if you have França, they can't double up on all of them.
Exactly.
So they're going to have free space.
That's why we saw him the best of him.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Henry. Go ahead, Henry. I'm sorry.
No. That's all I was going to say. That's why we saw the best of him last year because it went in the last 10 games. We had Elise, we had Wilf, we had Ebbs. All of them were allowed to express themselves by Roy because Roy came in and said, "Look, you are actually good players. Don't forget that." And but that's another thing. But anyway, go ahead.
Did you notice Lerma dropped into the center back position to allow Anderson to go up to the pitch, basically playing like a fourth midfielder? Because he's pretty creative with his feet, obviously. But when you're pinging it to Schalp and it's going out of play, I think that your passing percentage isn't going to look so good. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm noticing Anderson be a lot more attacking this season, which I like. Like against Sheffield United, he had I think he had a shot from outside the box that nearly went in. And
he also had that brilliant header that.
The header.
I forget the name of the keeper. He had another great game today.
Yeah, Foderingham, I think.
Yes, I think that's right. Yes.
Yeah, he's really. I mean, that's great if we can get more from Anderson in that respect because, he's a very good player.
Well, that's why Newcastle wanted him because they wanted a center back that could play with the ball off his feet. I was looking at the Liverpool game. Is it Cher, their center back? He was pinging the ball into the stands. I mean, that's why they wanted to build out from the back with him. They just didn't want to kick out the money.
Mm-hmm. So before Henry starts crying, let's talk about Dean. Let's talk about Dean Henderson. Because let's go talk about Eze all day. Let's talk about Dean Henderson. Dan, what do you think?
What do I think about Dean Henderson? Well,
bear in mind he's on £100 a week now, and I doubt he's going to want a pay rise. A pay loss, I mean.
Right. These are the things that I think. Okay, so. In an ideal world, and we have lots of money, then yes, I wouldn't mind having Dean Henderson vying for the number 1 spot with Sam Johnson. However, we are not in an ideal world. We are not Man City, and we are Crystal Palace. So would I rather see that money spent on, say, a left winger or a striker? 100%. I also just don't really 100% understand it because Sam Johnson is not old. He's 29. For a goalkeeper, he's got at least another 5 years in him, I think, before maybe you start thinking about it. He's never been injured as far as I know he was injured to begin with, but he doesn't get injured that often compared to Dean Henderson, who was injured for half of last season.
Yeah, but if we
wait,
have...
let me finish.
No, sorry. Go
on. I think. People say we need a backup goalkeeper because Guaita's going. I don't really buy that because the only other team in the league who's got 2 goalkeepers who should be starting in the Premier League is Arsenal. And they got levied the same criticism that people are levying the purchase of Henderson for. So that leads me to think that maybe they're expecting Johnson to go out somewhere. Maybe he's got a release clause. If that is the case, then yeah, fair enough. I can see that. I just don't really get it because I think in the time that Johnson would, from now to when he say is 34, I would like to have thought that Goodman or Whitworth would have developed enough that they would be the backup goalkeeper or the natural succession. I know Henderson is 26, I think. So if that's in 8 years, I guess maybe that would give them more time to develop. But I don't know. I'm guessing they're expecting Johnson to leave. I think Johnson's a better goalkeeper as well. Statistically, Johnson is a better goalkeeper as well. So, and I think his distribution is excellent. So I'm a bit confused by it personally, but I'm happy to be proved wrong.
You know, for me, I don't have an issue with us getting Henderson in, but number one, initially I thought it was going to be a loan and then with obligation to buy, which gives us a whole season to not dig into our transfer budget. My only gripe is, personally, if we still don't see that striker and that winger, and bear in mind, we still need fullbacks. If we don't see that to come the end of this window, I'm thinking to myself, why are we spending 15, 20 million on a goalkeeper? However, if we do get, let's say, a striker, winger, and one fullback, I don't expect us to get two. But if we get those 3 additional players, then you know what? We've had a great window. Bear in mind as well, we've still got our 2 loans available.
None of
That's
this.
what makes sure we use it.
None of this makes any sense. I'm with you, Dan and Rich, both of you. Although Dan, you brought up a point that I had forgotten about, and this is where it might maybe make some sense. There was a report, I think it was about 4 months ago, that Johnston had a £10 million release clause. If that is true, and there is somebody after him, then okay, this makes some sense to me.
I hope that's not true.
Okay, you heard that's not true, Henry?
Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
fair enough. Go ahead.
No, I mean, to be honest, right, the way I look at it, right, what's Johnston done wrong to be displaced by Dean Henderson? Like, if he the only thing that makes sense is what Tim just said right there. If he has a £10 million release clause and someone's going to buy him, then we're going to replace him with Dean Henderson. Good, okay, that would be quite good, I think. But otherwise, I can't really, because you're not buying a keeper for 25 million to put him on the bench. Like,
Exactly
that's just not happening. Because if it does, then he's not going to be happy, is he?
I'm just amazed they spent 20 million on anybody.
No,
I mean,
you know what? To be fair, let's just hypothetically say Johnston got another.
He's a good goaltender.
We're left with Remy
Yeah.
Matthews. So on that side of it, I'm
that's the worry.
But like I said, I would just be annoyed that if we don't get the actual outfield targets we need, that's when I'll be like, no, what on earth are we doing? Spending 15 plus on a goalkeeper.
On a keeper.
Well, yeah. And could you get, I mean, if it's £20 million, I'm not saying we can get him for this, but I was reading an article this morning. There are still strikers out there, or at least, very talented forward players who could play down the middle, like Orban at Ghent. Could you get him for 20 million? I have no idea. I don't know what they'd ask for. But
we've been down that road already with Ghent and Sorloth.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yes, that is fair. I've seen that kid play, and I have to admit, I'd be excited to see him come in. Your point's well taken, Patrick. I just, on the point of, like, if we've got 20 million and we know we are desperate for a center forward, I don't know why we would commit 20 million, even if we're committing, apparently the Dean Henderson deal is 15 million pounds up front and 5 million in achievable add-ons. So, okay. But I mean, theoretically, this is so nerdy, but I'm thinking about the math, and the math we know we had from January is Texter put in an additional equity investment of 30 million pounds. So on our upfront bid for França, we spent 17. So we got 13, at least we got 13 million, maybe plus a little bit more. So we've got to be somewhat careful. I don't know what else we've got. I don't know if when Blitzer showed up, he's writing other checks. Who knows, right? Who knows what we've got? But I mean, man, could you put that 20 million to work somewhere where we have just huge needs? I don't know. I'm not sold on it, even though I like Henderson. I want Johnston and I want a striker.
Nicky, your work.
I'm on my break, but I literally just had to come on and just be like, JC, you're in jail.
Okay.
But no. I just want to say, agreeing with some of the points about Henderson. I think with Johnson and Henderson, it's perhaps a case of, I know Dan said in the WhatsApp chat, and I don't know if he said it on the stream yet, about location. Obviously that he's been at West Brom for such and such a time, and I think it might just be a case of he wants to go back up there, maybe. With Henderson, we're getting somebody who has had proven Premier League experience if the deal goes through. But yeah, I'm happy to see a signing, but I just don't think this is the correct signing in the correct position at the moment. We got bigger things to worry about than goalkeepers. Like we need defenders, we need attackers, we need midfielders. Not so much midfielders, but there's other places that we can go.
100%.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm going on my break now, so peace out.
Enjoy, Nicky. See ya.
Yeah, Nicky.
See you, Nicky.
I think we've all given our. Have we all given our opinion on Henderson?
Patrick, have you?
I'm just like I said. I don't mean to be the sarcastic one, but they spent $20 million on 2 players this window. The best way I can
one because Lerma was free.
Well, no, Franca was 20 total.
Yeah,
and then Dean
Lerma was a free transfer.
No, we bought Franca. Franca was 20 million from Brazil.
No, yeah. Franca was bought, but Lerma was a free transfer.
Yeah, but if we're buying Henderson, it's 20 and 20.
Oh yeah.
So
sure,
and then, I don't know what does Lerma make on his wages? Is he making 50 grand a week? What does that break down to? Tim, you're the math guy.
Yeah, Tim, tell us.
I haven't looked at it, but my guess is 65,000 a week. But I'll take a look now unless you've got it, JC.
It's not his Palace one hasn't been published. However, his Bournemouth one was.
He was about 50 at
50
Bournemouth.
grand. Yeah, 50, exactly 50 a week.
So I would have guessed 65,000. So he wouldn't have been at
a bit more.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been at Luka, Luka was 75,000 a week. So I would have guessed 65,000 for Lerma, which is considering his performances, that's a hell of a deal.
So we spent 40 million in the window. Henderson's a good goaltender, so at least they didn't waste their money on a bum. So that's the best way to spin it. I think Henderson's pretty good. I think Henderson's biggest problem is a mirror because I think he's better. He thinks he's better than what he really is, but I think he's a good goaltender.
He's good.
I would like them to do a couple of things, but I've been liking them to do a couple of things for about 10 years now. So
trust.
Cool. Just to round up, look, we've got 1 week left of the window. I know JC's got one more transfer weekly to come out. We'll go live during the transfer window. So feel free, guys, if you want to join us. We don't know how long we're going to go live for, because if we've done all our business before Friday, we might sack it off. So we'll see how it is. But we'll go around. We'll start with our guests first. How many players do you think will get in, and who would you like to see in? We'll start with you, Tim.
How many would I don't know how many we'll get. I'm going to guess 2. Apparently Dougie was at Old Trafford to help complete the Henderson deal, so it feels like that's 1. I feel like we got to get a forward player, and I'll go typical Palace and say it's coming out of absolutely nowhere. We have no idea who this player is, and it comes in on deadline day. So I'll say 2, and optimistically, I'll say it's a forward line player. But I'm not going to say that it's a striker. I would love for it to be a striker, but I'm not going to make that prediction. I'm not sure that we're going to commit that kind of money. So I'll go 2.
Who would you like to see in there?
If it's up to me, I know the risk. I know the Sorloth anchor here, but I really do like the way Orban plays. And I mean, God help me. I mean, that I may be just completely naive, but I would love to see. That feels like a player that we could afford, who could play through the middle, who's got a hell of a lot of pace. And we need somebody that makes consistent runs into the box and can get in behind. We need somebody besides Jordan Ayew who loves to run in behind. So I want to see somebody like that. And if it's not Orban, then somebody who's got that profile.
Sure. Henry?
I would like us to sign 4 players. Probably not going to happen though. But yeah, in an ideal world, backup keeper, whoever that may be. And then we should go for Iheanacho, I think. I don't see why we can't get him. Leicester are a championship club now. I think Sinistera would be a good addition as well. And I don't see why not we can go for Hudson-Odoi. So that's what I would do. But
yeah,
I think realistically,
not the first one. That's not been confirmed yet, is it?
Is it not?
I don't think so.
I thought it had, but it probably
I knew there was it was close, but we haven't heard it's done.
So, yeah.
How about you, Patrick?
I'd like to get 3. I think we'll get 2. No doubt they're both going to be loans because we're cheap. I'd like to get. We're not going to get a right back. I've given up on that. So Emmanuel Dennis and Iheanacho. Emmanuel Dennis is not even on the. He's not even on the bench for Forest. He can play both sides of the wing
as well.
That's a really good shout. I'd forgotten about Dennis. That's a really good shout.
And he can play right through the middle. And Iheanacho, maybe I'm the only one that overrates this guy. Every time he plays for Leicester, he scores. So in the Brandon Rodgers,
I want him too.
Yeah, that's the number 1 target. And then I want to get both Emmanuel Dennis and Iheanacho.
That would be a very good ending to the window, actually.
Yeah, because both of them come in and start right away. Like, there's no question to me. And I would love to, honestly, we can't get them, but I watch a lot of Real Madrid games, and their young striker they was playing at Castile. Actually, I think Alvarado was his name. I'd love to get a loan for him, but they're not loaning him out. But that's me. That's what I.
Fair it is. Just before we go to you, Dan, Henry, regarding Sinistera, you know what? If this was earlier in the window, maybe. But what Leeds are cooking at the moment with Nonto staying, Sinistera, Somerville, Pirro, the striker they got from Swansea, they're looking at automatic.
But do they have Premier League football to look forward to, though?
Obviously,
and
not,
the way they're going, probably.
Yeah.
No, but not this season, though. Like that's.
I know. But what could have happened is that they've all agreed to stay on, and they all leave next season. If they don't get promotion.
That's probably what will happen. Yeah.
They've bought really well this summer so far.
Yeah.
Dan.
I'd like several, obviously, but what I think / what would be more realistic, I'll honestly, I'll be happy with an extra 2 players. Iheanacho I think would be really good. I've been researching him. There'll be a thread coming out about him tomorrow, I believe. So I've done a lot. I've watched a lot of videos of him. I've watched how he plays. I think he would fit into our team really well. And I think I've got a slight hunch that I think he could play quite well with Edouard as well, and maybe bring more out of him too. So that's why I'll go with Iheanacho. I think Dennis is a really good shout. I've not really looked into him that much, so I can't say for certain. I know he's had a lot of attitude issues apparently, but I think some of that was probably brought on by Forest themselves, because I don't think they let him go to AFCON. So that's a bit of that's not great. And also he has played under Roy already. So I think when he was at Watford. So again, I think that would be a good shout. I also really like, I haven't seen any rumours for him recently, but Kosunu from Leverkusen, I think he'd be really good. Whether we go for a right back or not is obviously probably unlikely.
Yeah,
but
that was
I think
very quiet.
Yeah, it's a shame because I thought he'd be very good I thought he'd be very good at Palace as well.
JC.
I'm gonna just assume that Henderson is done, but I'll go for an extra 2. I'd like to see us loan a right back, whether that be Wan-Bissaka, because Man United are trying to get another right back in desperately. Whether that be
Is it right back or left back they're looking at?
I think they're looking at both. Like
wow.
Shaw's injured,
That's
and
mad. I thought he was playing quite well, Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
That's what we thought as the outsider looking in. But clearly, Man United or Ten Hag, he don't fit that style of play. Whether that loan be Wan-Bissaka or even Cody Drama from Leeds, he had a great season for Luton last season. Was pretty good in the Leeds squad as well.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, he got subbed off for like 20 minutes. He wasn't even good.
But you know, we seem to be able to take these young players and turn them into something better. And clearly, Patrick definitely watched Transfer Weekly last week because, in my opinion, I think Dennis would probably be a better acquisition than Iheanacho purely because he can play all across the front line. He can play left wing, striker, and right wing. And our transfer strategy for the last few seasons is getting versatile players that can fill in at multiple positions and be comfortable there. So I'd say either a right back loan of any sort and then a Dennis.
Yeah, for me, hopefully 3 as well.
Or maybe even a Tomba.
That's a good shout, yeah. 3 for me, not including Henderson, because I'm assuming Fabrizio said here we go, so we're just kind of waiting now to see.
Well, we saw what happened last time he said that. He's going to
Chelsea. But I would agree with Patrick. I'll go Iheanacho and Dennis because I think they're both attainable targets. And then use a loan for a fullback, whether left or right, or one that can do both. You know, that Ivan Fresneda seems like a decent player. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. These are going to be the most nerve-wracking 5-6 days, you know. But if we get it right, Sunday it will be rocking at Sellers. If we get this right,
yeah.
If we don't, oh my gosh, it's going to be flat. It's going to be flat, but yeah.
So can I ask this group a question? Because it feels to me, I wonder if you agree with this. So let's say you get Iheanacho and you get Dennis. Henderson gets signed, and you've had Lerma, Elise resigning, and França. So let's say that happens, and you get the Ebbs contract done. Is that anything less than an A grade?
That's amazing.
Would that not be the best transfer window as long as I can remember in Palace history? Yeah.
Let me say.
I think they would have.
All right, we'll give it an A, but what would have made it an A star if we got fullback in?
Yeah,
let's say that.
I would probably still say Vieira's summer window is better.
Really?
Well, you had to lock down. Yeah.
Even if you lock down during that window, you beat Chelsea to Elise and you sign Ebbs to a new deal. That's still not better than Vieira's first window.
I think so. I think
Vieira had a whole rebuild. To be honest,
we built a whole team, and it was a successful team as well.
Yeah.
But we'll put it this way: if we do that and we are successful this season, all those signings come off, then I'd probably say this is about the same, if not better. But because we know how Vieira's first window went, I'd say that is still better in my opinion.
Fair.
What about the Allardyce window? I mean, I know those players aren't any good now, but that Allardyce window when you got
in the league,
our good Jeffrey Schultz, you had Patrick Van Aanholt, Luca could still play. That saved our rear end big time, which seems to be forgotten. And that was a core there for a couple of years. So let's not. I gotta mention that. And I'm a big Sam fan, so I can't let.
Still got Schluppy.
No.
Schluppy was good.
Very good window.
Schluppy was good then.
He was.
He's not now.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up.
This is definitely do
prefer
so.
not to speak.
I prefer not to speak.
All right, let's see. Tim, Patrick, have you got anything that like social wise that you wanna share out where people can find you? Now you're just hidden.
I'm on regular media like everybody else. Look up Roy's #1 fan. That's
No,
that's
I'm
all I
on
got.
LinkedIn, and that's it. If you tell me you're a Palace fan on LinkedIn and you want to hook up, great. I'll do that. But you actually have to tell me you're a Palace fan. Otherwise, I'm not just gonna randomly accept LinkedIn. But otherwise, I'm not on social.
Tim, you're in the States, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm out in the Rocky Mountain region. I'm just south of Denver.
I'm in Mid-Atlantic, Baltimore, Maryland. So okay.
Nice.
Look at that. United fans all over the world. It's great thing to see. Great thing to see. Henry, where can people find you?
Not today, man. I'm not doing that promo stuff. Not today.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Don't depress you that much? Wow. Okay.
It's Sunday, man. I can't be asked.
Fair enough. Dan, JC, myself, you'll find us here. What's coming up tomorrow? We actually got the Plymouth preview. For that's obviously Tuesday's game. If we can find a link, we'll try to watch along for that. Wednesday, then will be Tactical for the Wolves game. Thursday, Transfer Weekly. Friday,
Deadline day stream.
That's interesting. So I'll figure out when I'm going to
is
do
it
the right
Deadline
presser
Day
then.
Friday? Shit.
Yeah.
It's Thursday. Well, I guess it ends Friday morning, midnight, doesn't it?
Is that your time or US time?
Wait, is it ending Friday morning, or as in
No.
Thursday to go Friday, or Friday to go
As
Saturday?
in Thursday into Friday, I swear.
No, it's
Is it not?
I thought
Friday. It's Friday
into
the
Saturday,
1st.
isn't it?
It's Friday the 1st at 11. It's not at
11
midnight.
p.m. It's definitely Friday.
Oh, okay, fair.
So yeah,
Right,
Friday is the deadline.
I'm talking
And
crap.
then
Clearly.
Saturday, because of obviously the 2 transfer days that we're going to have, we're moving a Wolves preview to next Saturday, and then obviously Sunday we'll be at Sellers Park. So yeah, looking forward to it. Big up everyone in the chat. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and as per usual, guys, up the Palace.
Up the Palace. Come on.
Palace.